so much, Pedro, for the intro. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. And as Pedro already mentioned, I have a background in journalism. I'm currently leading communications and marketing at SyncReality. I have about 5 to 6 years of experience in emerging technologies, handling mostly developer-centric products and audiences. And thank you so much to AWE for having us here today.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. And?
Yeah, Cyril, he just said it. My background is 25 years filmmaking, and 7 years ago in Hong Kong I fell in love with location-based VR while researching on a film about immortality research gone wrong. And then it was over because it was so great to have social experience, multisensory. And we did something like The Void or Dreamscape with wind, heat, etc. But after that experience, I'll tell you more later, since 2 years we're developing SyncReality, which is a software tool for creators to develop auto-adaptive content for XR. And what we do, the topic is of course similar to us or close to us, what we love. We love when the real world is synchronized with the virtual world, and it's not an easy thing to do, and we can only do it together, and it also has social and other consequences when you do so.
So by the end of this talk, we hope that you have a firm understanding of how you can create scalable opportunities for your business using tools for adaptive and immersive content creation, and also save time, money, like very valuable resources by streamlining your workflows. So let's get started by looking at the current XR landscape.
Which is tough, you know it, yeah. XR is still in its niche compared to mobile games or whatever, because of it is still hardware driven. It is smaller market. It is the UX has to be reinvented, but these challenges are now met with a new set of developer tools helping to synchronize the real world with the virtual.
Yeah. And before we get into the how we do all of this, let's think about what actually makes an immersive experience. So for me personally, I think it's engaging the senses, and sight and touch being the most tangible or accessible senses that we have of the technology today. And then you want to make the experience seamless. So it should be indistinguishable from what is virtual and what is reality. And the last note that I'll touch on is intuition. It should be very natural for the end user to be moving through the environment that they're in a way that is inherent for them, a way that's natural for them. So with all of these elements in place, we're able to immerse ourselves and create or induce an emotional experience. And this creates an environment where the users can build trust and feel comfortable using the product. And that's an essential building block for fostering this trust and developing a good relationship with the consumer in the long run. And the last element to consider is convenience, which Cyril will expand on.
That's exactly the point. We all hook to our mobile phones, and nobody thinks that will go away, but it will go away. Still, there's a long way to go, and we can only do it together. And we cannot say, this is AR, this is VR, this is this headset, this is that platform. We all have to work on this together. And anyway, with the new headsets, you know them with the pancake, things like a Quest Pro, the Pico, all of the new headsets have color pass-through, which enable AR, VR at the same time, and also enable to integrate the real world in the virtual experiences. So everything is spatial. Yeah, and with the first of the tool, we call it layer 1. Because there's a subset of tools which enable the basic, where we kind of like, which we all need, and we as a company also then sit on the shoulders of giants, which enable developers to use spatial anchoring, like I said, color pass-through, and object recognition later on, and kind of like knowing exactly where in the room you are. It's super important. And Meta Presence Platform is pretty far ahead in that.
Yeah, another layer one tech that we can look at is Room Plan from Apple. And this is a Swift API that uses cameras and LiDAR scanners on an iPhone or your iPad to scan the room that you're in and create a 3D floor plan via digital double. And this is really interesting because it makes it very easy for the end user to make very informed decisions about the space that they're in, because these floor plans include characteristics like the dimensions and also the types of furniture that are being scanned. So I think Room Plan is a really good example for this. And then if we move on to layer two, this layer two acts as the vehicles on top of the pavement, or the tools that developers use for content creation in spatial worlds or virtual experiences. Unity Mars specifically, they create or enable the creation of AR apps in plain language authoring tools. So this makes it very easy for the developer to work with Unity Mars. They create 3D content onto planes, and also you're able to simulate experiences before exporting it to the final experience stage, let's say.
And of course, since we're here, we cannot not talk about our software, which is kind of like going a bit further than Unity Mars, because SyncReality offers the designer that to substitute volumes instead of just putting virtual objects onto planes. And also it enables smart virtual object placement in the room, and procedural content creation, meaning like in film we call it fit to fill, that you have, because every room is different, every furniture is different, and the virtual objects have to look beautiful, even though the room changes. Yeah.
So let's take a closer look at what's possible with SyncReality.
Yeah, that's how we believe in the future people will use it every day, that in their homes are kind of like used as a stage for content, education, gaming, and other apps.
Yeah, and an important differentiator, I would say our main differentiator, is that there is a smart and automatic placement of objects, of virtual objects, onto the real world. And as we mentioned before, this saves a lot of time for the developer and money for the businesses. And we're able to do this while maintaining the creative integrity of the space, so it's really true to scale what you see there. And we've announced the alpha release of our product, which is available as a Unity plugin, and next year we'll be releasing the Unreal plugin for SyncReality.
Exactly. And of course we're looking for partners who, because he's gaming, who would love to do a game which automatically adapts to their home. We have here also on the booth an escape game, first level, but we're looking for partners who create games.
Yeah, and I would just say that I think it's important to note that SyncReality is, we see it as a complementary tool to a lot of XR platforms. So here we have a very good base for creating a mass market where platforms, tools, devices are all interoperable, where we can all work together to create better and more immersive virtual experiences.
Exactly. We don't see that they're competitors. We all have to work together, and it stacks up on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hands-on. What kind of experiences can you do? Shopping. In mobile phone, very complex, often bad UX. You have to go down the drain, and you cannot even buy something because if it's badly designed in the phone. At home, the shop unfolds on your living room table on the wall, and you walk around the products. We made a test with models walking around in real size on your table, a small one, and with a swipe over the table, you shop and check out. And that's really a big market for the future to do this at home.
Yeah, and next up we'll look at education, and the potential for this is really ramping up. I think it's known that immersive learning is an extremely powerful method, and now we can take this type of learning outside of traditional spaces like a lecture hall or a classroom. And with the right tooling, you can literally hardwire your brain with any hobby or skill set that you may want to acquire. And that possibility, the potential for this is really amazing.
Yeah. And of course, a no-brainer, imagine at home, Billie Eilish comes and sits on your sofa, has a private concert for you. Or also no-brainer, laser tag at home. You can expand the playfield. It's safe, social, either between your kitchen and your living room or between your living room in Berlin with a living room here in Lisbon. This is a huge potential for gaming at home because the space is quadrupled due to the fact that all the obstacles turn into game objects.
Yeah, so now that we've talked about the use cases and the tooling, I think it's important to really mention the moral obligation that we have as platform creators to our end users. And in spatial worlds, the amount of data that's being created compared to today quadruples. There's so much happening with mapping, scanning, tracking. This is all data. And traditionally, we've seen this exploitation of the end user because businesses take on these massive risks with the data ownership that they have from the data that they've collected. And now there's this opportunity to mitigate this risk and also re-empower the end user at the same time. So if we give users the choice to opt in and decide if and how their data will be used, then not only can we foster better consumer relationships, but we can also reinforce trust. And this really sets the course for long-term product loyalty.
I think that's a big, important key also for our hardware partners. I always tell them, you don't lose money, you win money if you gain the trust of the end user.
Yeah.
And also, of course, the big word, interoperability, since last year. It's true, we have to tear down this, Mr. President, tear down this Guardian. That's important for us always. But not only the Guardian at home, but the Guardian between the walled gardens of the ecosystems. And also that we enable the people to create not only assets, which you can jump from one game to the other, but also change places. And these kind of like universal approach is super important for us, for the whole ecosystem to thrive. Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, we just want to thank you for your attention and thanks for coming here today. You can follow us on our website and stay up to date. You can also sign up for our alpha release, and you can watch our complete vision film on the website as well.
Yeah. Thanks for your attention. And if there are any questions or game designers who want to do some project with us, it's really now the time to do this. Any questions or remarks or wishes? What game should we do first? What app would you like to see in your home? Anyone?
Well, if there's no questions now, we still have about like an hour left in the expo, so you can come visit us at the booth. It's 213. We're right next to Pico and something else that I'm forgetting at the moment.
We have beer in the fridge because it's a student dorm. Our booth is a student dorm, so to check out that the content is really mapping onto your flat. So
so
cordially
come by
invited
and experience it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.